Behavioral approach claim that it is better to be wrong precisely than vague. The first topic mentioned in PSIR syllabus is approach. So, what is approach? What are the kinds of approach that is followed in political science that you need to know? So, in simple words, approach is accessing anything. So, if you access anything, then you gather all data relating to it, that which path would be easier, or which path would be convenient, or which path would be superior. So, what to inquire is common in all approaches, but how to inquire is method, and methods are different. So, basically approach consists of two things. One, what to inquire, that is subject, and how to inquire is the method, and method is procedure of inquiry. So, method can be inductive method followed by Aristotle, that is particular to general; scientific method, that is bottom up approach; then deductive method, which was followed by Plato, that general to particular, that logic is the authority to prove the predetermined conclusion, that there is a predetermined conclusion that there is a God. Now there are n number of logics given to prove that. Comparative method, scientific method, so there can be n number of methods. So basically approach is what to inquire, that is subject, and how to inquire. Basically approach is the criteria of selecting a problem and relevant data. So before Second World War, the approach followed in political science was traditional approach. Traditional approach was focusing on state and formal institutions. So that approach was followed, in which the history, philosophy, law and institutions were being referred to understand the state, its role. As in traditional approach, one of the political scientists, Garner, says that political science begins with the state and ends at the state. Another thinker, Gettel, says that political science is the science of state. Means the state is so central to political science because the very root word of political, politics, polity is polis, that is city-state. So according to Aristotle, state, government and laws are indispensable in human society, because man is the worst animal without state, government and laws. So traditional approach is value laden, means there is more focus on subjective issues, and this is the reason why there are large number of political philosophy. For example, if we see the state, organic theory of a state of Plato and Aristotle claim that a state is the body, individual is the organ, and organ cannot exist without body. So individual cannot exist without state. Man is the social and political animal, and those who are not living within the state are either beast or God, not human being, because man is a social and political animal. So that is organic theory of a state or organic philosophy of state. Divine theory of a state will say no, state is march of God on earth, like G.W.F. Eagle, 18th century German thinker. Then Manu and Kautilya, they also believe that the world was created by Brahma, the state and king were also divine creation, and their creator was Brahma to end the anarchy and lawlessness. Then there will be mechanistic theory of a state of Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, that is social contract individualism. For them, state is the machine, means, while individual freedom is the end. Then there is welfare theory of a state by J.S. Mill and T.H. Green. They claim that the state is a human organization and its purpose is welfare of the people. So there are different theories of the same state. Similarly, there are different theories of sovereignty, there are different theories of liberty, equality, justice, power, authority, legitimacy, rights, duties, and it's full of political philosophy. Philosophy has two words. Philia means love, Sophie means wisdom, love for wisdom, higher ideals, higher goals, ought to be, what should be. So it focuses more on what should be. Traditional approach is more formal, state centric. It is more focused on macro level generalization. It is value laden, and history is also being referred in traditional approach. Like Machiavelli says, history repeats itself. Hegel and Marx also used historical method to understand state, politics, rights, duties, liberty, equality, justice, and so on. Then there is philosophical approach that focuses more on what should be, like our preamble is philosophical. It is not focusing on what is, but it focuses on what should be. And when we say political theory, it has both the philosophy part and science part. Science part deals with what is. Philosophy part is dealing with what should be, desirability, noble, desirable goals. Then laws are being also referred in traditional approach, that if laws are good, if they are efficiently implemented, then the chances of the state doing good with the people is good. Then institutions, as I said, that is focusing more on the institutions, the organizations, and the state is the first and foremost one, because state centric studies are there. This approach was being followed for so long, and in the modern period, Europe was the center of politics, world politics. So this traditional approach was Eurocentric. However, Second World War took place. That was the second total war. First total war was First World War, 1914 to 1918. And second total war was Second World War, that was 1939 to 1945. So they were total wars that ill affected all walks of life. Not only ill affected soldiers and rulers, but common people at large scale. Massive dislocation of economy. In First World War, almost 5 crore people lost their life. In Second World War, almost 10 crore people lost their life. So in wake of massive collateral damage, there was change in approach. Because why you change approach when the existing approach does not work? So the biggest function of political studies is to resolve the conflict. Conflicts are inevitable. Contestations are inevitable. So politics is there, because different stakeholders have different interests, different ideas, different ideologies, different positions, and different perspectives. So there are bound to be conflicts. There is no diversity of ideologies or stakeholders or interests, there would not have any contestation. But wherever there is contestation, conflict, there is another side of coin, that is cooperation. Conflict resolution is required. And political studies is focusing a lot on conflict resolution because of its immense potential to resolve the conflict. It finds middle path, it goes for moderation, flexibility, a spirit of give and take. That approach is helpful in solving the complex problems. So there was change in approach because of First and Second World War, and it was being argued that too much political philosophy or values led to too much subjectivity, and too much subjectivity led to conflicting interpretations. Like Hitler was saying that fascism, Nazism was the best. Churchill was claiming that liberal democracy of West was the best. Then different countries were justifying their own positions. So it was being argued that in traditional approach there was too much subjectivity, too much values, which led to conflicting interpretations and which led to war. So behavioral approach is the contribution of American political studies, and the roots of it was there in Chicago school 1920s and 1930s. C. Merriam is considered by some as father of behavioral approach or behavioral revolution or behavioralism, as he focused on data centric quantitative method to be applied for understanding political problems and solving them. So it was less focusing on rules and norms, and it was more focusing on action and relevance. So behavioral approach has the root word behavior. Now behavior of who? Behavior of political actor belonging to political system. System word is derived from physics. Like you might have studied adiabatic system, isothermal system. What is system? System is characterized by set of subsystems or elements interacting with each other in a particular pattern, having a boundary which separates it from the surroundings. So in traditional approach, there was focus on state and formal powers and functions. But behavioral approach, micro level precision, that uniformity in the behavior of the political actor is being seen, and once there is pattern of uniformity, then a fact is concluded. Like in science, how you conclude that there is gravitational pull towards center of earth? When you verify, when you demonstrate, when you observe. So science is systematic study based on observation, repetition, experimentation, demonstration and facts. What are facts? Facts are a statement of reality. And what is reality? That which can be observed, that can be verified repeatedly with pattern of uniformity. So in behavioral approach, basically in one line, was an attempt to make political studies fully scientific, fully empirical, fully factual, no values, no philosophy, no different interpretation, full stop to political theories oblique political philosophy, micro level precision, observing the behavior of the political actor. Who is political actor? Members of executive, members of legislature, members of judiciary. Like Prime Minister is also political actor. As a voter, you are also political actor. So as a political party leader, you are also political actor. So behavior of the political actor is being seen, and there was an attempt to find uniformity in the behavior of the political actor. Once there was uniformity in that behavior, then we conclude it as a fact. So behavioral approach inspired from psychology, modern psychology. Psychology focuses on the behavior and to find pattern of uniformity in the behavior. Then physical science, for example, as I said, in traditional approach focus was on state, but here focus was on political system. Political system is part of the larger social system, which consists of political system, economic system, cultural subsystem. So like science, here also interdisciplinary branches like political sociology, political economy, political culture, like biochemistry, that achievements and findings of one sphere is being used in another sphere. So that will enrich our understanding. So behavioral approach was followed from 1945 onwards till failure of America in Vietnam War 1969. So that approach was an attempt to make political studies fully scientific. In traditional approach, focus was values. Values are subjective, preference of expression of preference. What is value? Value is expression of preference. Preference are of different individuals are different. Somebody prefer wealth, somebody prefer prestige, somebody prefer satisfaction, somebody prefer recognition, and so on. So preferences are always subjective of different individuals, of different societies, of different nations, of different group of people. So that here formal powers and functions were being seen, but here shift towards informal processes of politics. And politics is omnipresent in behavioral approach. Like in political science, why we study budget, fiscal policy, monetary policy? Some may say, no, it is the economic sphere. But political sphere impacts economic sphere and being impacted by economic sphere. That is called political economy. This is the reason why we study IMF, World Bank, WTO, fiscal policy, monetary policy, liberalization, planning, Niti Aayog, all these things we study in political science. Then political sociology, like pressure groups, like interest groups, like social movements, they are part of political sociology. So interdisciplinary branches, like pluralist theory in political science comes from sociology. Elitist theory of democracy also is derived from sociology. And economy, policy science. So it is both prescriptive and descriptive. That is, description is what is and prescription is how the betterment can be done. So this is what the behavioral approach here. Many things are derived from science, like system model is derived from physics. Cybernetic model of David Easton, that is inspired from computer science, which says that political system is just like CPU and demand and supports are just like input and decisions and policies are outputs. If decisions and policies are good, demand will lessen, support will increase. This will stabilize political system. So basically America is a capitalist country and capitalism always favor political stability for growth, prosperity, wealth creation, wealth generation. So be it system model derived from physics, cybernetic model derived from computer science, or be it various theories like pluralist theory, elitist theory derived from sociology, psychology, behavior of the political actor. So here micro level precision, here macro level generalization. Here focus is what is, here the focus was what should be. Here there is no philosophy, no values, no subjective interpretation, no different interpretation, complete, there was an attempt to make it completely scientific, completely empirical, completely factual. So full stop to political theories or philosophy. So that approach was followed for so long. Here in behavioral approach, some claim that C. Merriam was the father of behavioral approach, but many consider David Easton as father of behavioral approach. He gave cybernetic model. Then Almond and Powell in system model gave structural functional model. That structural functional model is used in comparative politics, contemporary politics. Because before Second World War, Eurocentric traditional approach, all European countries had similar political system, similar level of development, similar society. But in behavioral approach comparison, first world, that is capitalist world with liberal democracy, second world, communist world with single party communist system, third world countries who adopted Western system. So there was comparison between first world, second world, third world. So comparative politics is also part of behavioral approach of Almond and Powell. Then communication model inspired from information and communication technology on one hand and business management on the other. So that is also inspired from other branches. And David Easton talk about VP tricks, verification, pure science, techniques, regularities, interdisciplinary approach, quantification and systematization, VP tricks. So that approach was followed. Means in nutshell, there was an attempt to make political studies fully scientific, fully factual, fully empirical. However, failure of America in Vietnam War. As you know, America started intervening in Vietnam to prevent communist expansion, and it had war in 1956 to 1973. But America failed there, and it was the most unpopular war ever fought by America in its whole history. Thanks to the spirit of Vietnamese, thanks to the support of communist China, communist Russia, sympathy of the third world, and thanks to the geography of Vietnam, which caused guerrilla warfare. So it was seen that there was a limitation of behavioral approach. Behavioral approach had lots of achievement, no doubt, but at the same time, many value-laden issues cannot be quantified, cannot be measured, like justice. Can you measure justice? You can measure current by ampere, you can have voltmeter, you can pyrometer, lactometer. You can have so many meters for the things which can be quantified, which can be measured. But can you measure justice? Can you measure liberty? Can you measure equality? Can you measure fairness? So they are part and parcel of the humanities or human relations. So politics has so many subjective issues, value-laden issues, which cannot be empirically measured, which cannot be empirically verified. So post-behavioral approach came. Post-behavioral approach was not negation of behavioralism. In fact, consolidation of behavioralism, revival of values, revival of political philosophy. Because without political philosophy, different political philosophy, you cannot understand the issue from multi-dimensional perspective. So the slogan was relevance and action. Behavioral approach claimed that it is better to be wrong precisely than vague. But post-behavioral approach says that it is better to be vague than irrelevantly precise. Precision for what? This mechanization for what? Political scientists cannot be reduced to mechanical engineers, just finding prototype uniformity in the behavior of political actor. So values were revived, relevance and action, crisis management and problem solving, revival of political theories. This does not mean revival of behavioral traditional approach, because traditional approach is thesis, behavioral approach is antithesis, then post-behavioral approach is synthesis. So post-behavioral approach, without negating the achievements of behavioralism, revived the values, revived political philosophy, and revived those issues which were subjective in nature. So post-behavioral approach is now followed in political science. For example, if there is voting percentage, there you can have sample survey, there you can have quantitative method. That's good. That if poll percentage is going up, then democracy is succeeding. But how will you measure justice? Is there any justice meter to measure it? There is ammeter, there is voltmeter, there is lactometer, but there is no justice meter. It is subjective issue. So we need different political theories. We need multidimensional approach. We need to have holistic understanding, and different political theory are differently applied in different contexts, in different situations. So subjectivity will be there, because political science is subject of humanities. It deals with human relation rather than machines, and rather than making it cog in machine. So human behavior is quite complex, and the search for prototype uniformity in the behavior of human behavior or political actor has certain limitations. This led to post-behavioral approach. So in brief, I have just discussed the three approaches. Right now we do follow post-behavioral approach 1969 onwards, without negating the achievements of traditional approach and behavioral approach respectively. So this is how we follow, and there is substantial part of physical science in political science due to behavioral approach that was after Second World War. So that's it for today. Thank you.